Dying again. Hello and welcome to my birthday celebration. Bration. We're gonna start with a little intro type thing, and just hold on. Just talk for a minute, and then we are going to do some scary stories to kick us off first. I got the coffee. I got coffee. Actually, today, today's not my birthday. I mean, when you see this, it is my birthday. Today, not my birthday. So, oh, I know which one I really want to do. Let me see if I can find it. I might have to Nope, I found it. The first story I want to read is about the Dream School, which is a Japanese urban legend. You know how I love my Japanese urban legends, so it only made sense that I would include one in this birthday celebration. Hold on just a second. I have tissues. I don't know why I grabbed it. Alright. Might have to stop in the middle of it to Anyways, there was a Japanese boy named Kei who had a very strange dream. In the dream, he found himself wandering through a school. It was not his school. It was a school he did not recognize. It was night, and the school was in darkness. The sound of footsteps echoed down the empty hallways. It was very eerie. He tried to open the doors and windows, but they were all locked. He tried banging on them as hard as he could, but the glass would not break. The school was large and sprawling. It was like a maze. It didn't seem to make sense. Walking down one corridor would bring him back again to the place he was before. It was very strange, as if the normal rules of time and space did not apply. Kay was starting to get scared. He began to run down the hallway. The corridor stretched on and on without end, and there was no exit. After running past the same set of classrooms several times, Kay noticed something odd. The corridor was an endless loop. No matter how long he ran down the corridor, he would always find himself back at the start. He decided to try a different route. He ran down the hallway to the right, then took the first left and the first left again. He entered the home economics room. And when he went out the door on the other side, he found himself in another hallway. He entered the art room and went out the door on the other side. Somehow, it brought him to the third floor, next to the girls' toilets. He went through the music room and ran down the hallway, past another set of classrooms. He came to the stairs and went down. He kept wandering and wandering. The night seemed to last forever, and he felt like dawn would never come. King Kong, King Kong. Kay heard the muffled sound of a clock chiming. When he looked up, he saw the clock. The hands were swinging back and forth like a pendulum. Clump, 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 clump. Kay heard the echo of heavy footsteps chasing him. He was too scared to look behind him and desperately wanted to escape. He ran up a set of stairs that should have taken him to the 4th floor, but instead he found himself on the 1st floor outside the audio-visual room. Clump, 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 clump. The footsteps began to get faster and faster. He ran down the corridor and turned left, left again, right, and left again. He came out in front of another set of classrooms. At the end of the hallway there was an emergency exit, but the glass box that housed the key was smashed, and the key was missing. There was a note inside that said the key was in classroom 108. Clump, 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 clump. The footsteps were coming closer and closer. Kay ran down the stairs. He turned left and ran down the hallway. He turned right and right again. He found himself outside a classroom. On the door, there was a sign that read 108. Kay tried the door and it opened. He stepped inside and shut the door behind him. The classroom was in darkness and he could barely see. He flicked the light switch, but it didn't work. The classroom was filled with dust, and there was bags hanging on the back of each chair. Kay started searching desperately through them. He looked in every bag, searched every drawer. All the while, he could hear footsteps coming down the hallway. Clump, 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 clump. Before long, he heard something banging loudly against the door of the classroom. Boom, 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 boom. Kay still couldn't find the key he was looking for. He pulled the drawers out of the desk and tipped them on the floor. He opened the bags and began dumping the contents onto the floor. Boom, 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 boom. The sound of banging grew louder and louder. The door seemed like it was about to come off its hinges. He searched desperately, but he still couldn't find the key. Just then, the knocking on the door suddenly stopped. There was an eerie silence. Kay stood there, trembling, waited with bated breath. He stood there in the darkened classroom, afraid to move a muscle. After a while, he couldn't hear anything, so he went to the door. He reached out, turned the handle, opened it gently, and peered out into the corridor. What he saw horrified him, and a scream died in his throat. There were countless boys and girls. They were in pieces. Their heads, arms, legs were severed from their torsos. The floor was awash with blood, and they were dancing, jerking back and forth, their limbs flailing to and fro in a dance of death. Kay was drawn into the dream. His body remained asleep. He was never able to wake up. Even today, he is still wandering through the school in his mind. Now that you have read this story, please try to forget about it. If you don't forget about this story within a week, you will have the same dream in which you will find yourself wandering around the school. You will have to find the key and escape through the emergency exit. before you come across the pieces of boys and girls who dance, or you will be drawn into the dream forever. So, and that is how that story ends. And like, what a fucking like creepy, so fucking creepy. Like, why? Now we are going to do a scary stories to tell in the dark. Just because I feel like that's kind of like a classic type thing to do, especially for like a birthday celebration video, just because I feel like scary stories to tell in the dark was like such a huge part of my childhood. So we are going to do one called Bloody Fingers. And this is kind of like a funny, scary story. That's how it's described. But yeah, so let's just get straight into it. This is story 2 of 3. Go. A man walked into a hotel late one night and asked for a room. The hotel manager told him the hotel was all booked up. "We've only got one room left," he said. "It's on the 13th floor, but we don't rent that one because it's haunted." "I'll take it," said the businessman. "I don't believe in all that nonsense about ghosts." One second. The man took the key and went up to the room to get some sleep. As soon as he turned off the lights and got into bed, he heard the closet door squeak open. A pale, ghostly figure emerged from the closet and staggered forth, its fingers dripping with blood. "Bloody fingers, bloody fingers," it moaned. When the man laid eyes on this horrible sight, he grabbed his suitcase and ran out of the room, still wearing his pajamas. Left the hotel that very night. The next night, an old woman arrived at the hotel very late at night. The manager told her the same thing. "We've only got one room left, but it's on the 13th floor and we don't rent it because it's haunted." "Sonny, I've seen a lot in my day," she told him. "Trust me, nothing could possibly bother me." As soon as she switched off the lights and got into bed, the closet door creaked open and a ghastly figure stepped out. Its fingers were still dripping blood all over the floor. "Bloody fingers." It moaned. The old woman shrieked and ran as fast as her legs could carry her. A week later, a teenage boy arrived at the hotel very late. He also took the haunted room, despite the manager's warning. He paid for his room, got the key, and headed upstairs. After he unpacked, he took out his guitar and began to strum some tune. Soon the closet door creaked open and the ghost appeared. As before, its fingers were bleeding, soaking the carpet with blood, and it was moaning, "Bloody fingers, bloody fingers." The boy didn't pay attention to the ghostly figure. He just kept strumming his guitar. The ghost kept moaning, and its fingers kept bleeding. "Bloody fingers, bloody fingers." Finally, The boy stops playing the guitar. He looks straight at the hideous apparition and said, "Shut up and get yourself a band-aid." And that is how that story ends. How creepy is that? I'm just gonna get my books that I want to share for the book haul out. There's quite a bit. Also, the next video that I come out with will be all about um ACOTAR, the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, which I finished. Recently at the end of last year, um, yeah, I have actually a lot more than I thought I had, but who am I to complain? It's gonna be fun. Now, this isn't even like the all of it. Like, I'm not gonna bug you with like all of them, just because a lot of them are like just random like books I happen to find. You know, just because there's like this, I, and I gotta like redo my bookshelf eventually. Not tonight though, because I don't want to. I think I grabbed all the ones that I want to talk about, so we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, here is the final story, which is really, really short. It's not really a story, it's a short song. But looking back, now this song like really creeped me out as a child. And it's from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Now, it's not as creepy now, like as an adult, but I remember being a kid being so like creepy. It's called the Hearse Song. And no, we're not singing it, we're just gonna read it. It says, "Don't ever laugh when a hearse goes by. You just might be the next to die. They'll wrap you in a big white sheet, from your head down to your feet. They'll throw you in a big black box and fill your grave with dirt and rocks. And there you'll lie for about a week until your coffin springs the leak. The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out. The worms pay Piccolo pinnacle on your snout. They eat your ears, they eat your nose, they'll gobble your fingers and your toes. And when a great big rat will crawl into your mouth and out your bum, your skin will turn a sickly blue. Your brain will melt and turn to goo. You'll spread them on a slice of bread, and that's what you eat when you're dead. See, now it's not really like a, oh my god, that's so fucking creepy kind of thing, but, it was. you know, but as a kid, it was like, oh, dying. And I mean, I'm still like scared of dying as an adult, but but it doesn't creep me out like it did as a kid. All right, now we are going to. It's Q&A time, I think. Yep, it is Q&A time. So right now we are at almost at the 22-minute mark. We're gonna go for at least a few minutes. So let's go. Now these are just gonna be like general, like questions and stuff. So let's go. Do you have a dedicated office space at home? I don't anymore. I used to, but I moved into a smaller place, so there isn't really. It's literally a 1-bedroom apartment, so there isn't like enough anywhere to like put a setup or an office. I usually just film wherever now. What did you eat for breakfast? Yeah, I had a cup of coffee for breakfast. And yeah. I don't really eat breakfast that much just because I don't like to eat when I first get up, and also I can't eat anything before like 10 o'clock. How many cups of coffee, tea, or beverage of choice do you have each morning? I start off with a cup when I first wake up, drink that down, and then make another cup and like casually like sip on it. And I make coffee and shit throughout the day, so it's like not that. I don't know. I usually have about 3 or 4 cups a day. Like, I know I'm bad. Are you an early bird or a night owl? Definitely a night owl. I am not a morning person. I will never be a morning person. What about showers? Do you prefer morning or night? I prefer night showers just because, like, I know if you take a shower in the morning, you're like clean for the day. And you don't have the excess like sleep on you. But there is absolutely nothing worse than going to bed feeling nasty. So at night first, and then at the end of the day, you're all sweaty. At night for sure. What's your favorite flower or plant? So my favorite flower, I'd want it. Roses are cute, like especially the pink ones. Like I have some pink fake ones over here. They're pretty cute. They got the little like white spots in some of them. They're fake because I kill real plants. But I also like this the sunflowers. I've always loved sunflowers. Then there's like tulips are pretty, like daffodils are pretty. Like there's a lot that I think are pretty, but I think my favorite would have to be sunflowers, just because they're like so. They just either sunflowers or pink roses. Only the pink roses though, not the red ones. What's your caffeinated beverage of choice? Coffee. What's your favorite scent? I really like the not the strong cinnamon scent, but like a like a light nice cinnamon scent. Best book you've ever read. Okay, so I actually don't own this book anymore. I wish I did. I used to, but I left it somewhere and I don't know where I left it. I think I left it at my grandmother's house on accident when I was packing up quickly. But like, I was in a rush to pack up because I was on a tight schedule and I was not doing that. But my favorite book I've ever read, and so far one of only two books I've ever given a 6-star rating. Now, I'm gonna talk about this. I'll probably talk about this more in an actual like book video, which is technically later, but not like this isn't really a book video. There's just like a segment about book. A 6-star read is basically where it's like so good and it stays with you so well that there's no way that it could have been just a 5-star read. Because for me, a 5-star read means the book was excellent. A 6-star read basically means that it's going to like stay with you for ever. And so far, only 2 books have ever reached that status. One of which was the first book that I read this year. Now, there's been a couple that 5-star reads that have been so close to being a 6-star read, which we'll talk about a couple, at least 1 or 2, maybe more, in this little book haul that we're going to be doing in a few minutes. If you could write, speaking of books, if you could write a book, what genre would you write it in? Okay, so I've always wanted to do a fantasy book, and I've also always wanted to do like a mystery book. I want to do like an adult fiction. I want to do like a teen fiction maybe, and like a children's book or something. I wouldn't do a picture book, but maybe like a chapter book for children. I want to do something for like every age group, pretty much every age group from like from like children, teens, young adults, and adults. But we'll see how that goes because just because I feel like when I start writing, I'll get to like chapter 3 and be like, this is so awful. All right, what is one article? These are some funny ones. What is one article of clothing that someone would wear that would make you walk out on a date with them? Crocs, you know, the little like shoe things. If you come to a date with me, which by the way, never going on a date with some person on Tinder, or Bumble or like Craigslist or like Plenty of Fish, like those shit. No. But if you come to a date wearing Crocs, get the fuck out. The zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are 3 people you want on your team? My sister, my best friend, and my next door neighbor. Um, what is your most used emoji? Um, it's the hand heart emojis. I'm holding the phone, so I can't really. Hold on, let me like see if I can like set it up. Like that emoji, that is probably my most used emoji. I used it pretty much at the end of every sentence. Who was your childhood actress crush? Selena Gomez. Um, if you were famous, what would you be famous for? I'm famous for I want to be famous for being famous. You know, probably for my like art music career, or if I ever write a book. Speaking of music career, my debut album comes out. Well, I don't know when it comes out. Probably, I don't know, but I'm working on it now, and I'm hoping to have it done by the end, by middle to end of next month. Maybe even by the end of this month, depending on how quickly ideas come to me, because I don't want to like rush it. I can tell you that the first single is hopefully, so basically my plan for my album is that I want the first single to be out in like I want the first single to be announced at the end of February, with a release date at the beginning of March, and then the second single announced at the end of April, with a release date at the beginning of May, and then I'll probably announce the album after that sometime. I don't know what. Maybe even before that. I don't know. Probably maybe after that. I don't know. If you had to delete all but 3 apps from your smartphone, which ones would you keep? I would keep Facebook, because I have a fantastic presence on Facebook. I'd keep YouTube and Instagram. Everything else can just fuck right off. Um, which band or artist would play at your funeral? I have no idea. Taylor Swift, if she's alive. As a child, what did you want to be when you grew up? A teacher. But I don't. Part of me regrets not pursuing it, but also at the same time, there's so much like horrible stuff going on in schools that I don't want to like put myself through that. Favorite TV show? Friends. And finally, what is your favorite dessert? Cheesecake. Like the other day, I had such a good cheesecake type, strawberry cheesecake with like, like actual like strawberries on top. It was insane. So I thought I would take the next couple of minutes to highlight some of my birthday memories. And we're not talking about the shitty ones. We're talking about like the good ones, which was well, last year I ate some Oreos for my birthday. I didn't even remember that, but I walked into church, my now new church, and they were like, last year you were eating like Oreos for your birthday. I remember you turned 20 in this gym last year, because our church has a gymnasium and we were doing an event, and I was there, and we were like, let's see. And obviously, I remember when I turned. Ooh, I like that lighting there, though. Where'd it go? Somewhere, like. But I remember turning 18 just because Hold on. Just because that's the 18th birthday is the one you look forward to the most. I don't remember what I was doing on my 18th birthday. Did I have school that day? It might have been a Saturday. Hold on, let me check. Yeah, it was a Saturday, so I wasn't in school that day. Um, but yeah, that was definitely a memorable one. I was living with my grandmother at the time, and we didn't really do anything. I think I had to work that day. But yeah, and then there's also some like not so good ones that I could make a whole like 10-minute video on. But we're gonna keep the vibes happy for this video. Um, as for my birthday plans, my birthday is today. As for my birthday itself, I don't really have any plans unless something comes up like, "Hey, Caleb, do you wanna?" And I might say yes, I might say no, I don't know. Um, but you know, obviously I'm gonna be turning 21, so but anyways, let's I want to tell some funny jokes. And to you it might seem like really like weird, but it's been a ongoing like thing for me to tell a couple funny jokes for my birthday. I mean, this is the first time I've done it on camera because this is the first time that I've actually really done this like vlog type, whatever you want to call it. And I don't want to be taught, and on my main channel, I don't want to be like, ooh, look at this funny. Oh, by the way, what is it called when a turkey and a dinosaur get to, How do you know if a vampire is unwell? Because he'll be coughing. You get it? Like the coffin? That was stupid. Why did the bicycle collapse? It was too tired. Get it? Like tired, but also like tired. This is stupid. What kind of music do bubbles hate? Pop. Why can't a toe be 12 inches long? Then it be a foot. What does your house wear? A dress. How do billboards talk? Sign language, obviously. Why can't you give Elsa a balloon and it says she'll let it go? That's funny. Why is Peter Pan always flying? He never lands. How does the ocean say hi? It waves. Like it waves, but also like it waves. What's brown and sticky? A stick. They always make these X's too hard to see. But anyways, those are all the jokes that we're going to be telling today. I just wanted to throw some in there. Now, for the book haul, some of these I've read before, some of these I have not. So let's just start. Let me balance out those piles real quick. Let's start with this one. It's a classic. It's called Watership Down. I've seen the movie before and it was really good, but I've never seen the book. I've never read the book before, and I've heard it to be a hard read, but also a good read. So I'm really excited to read it whenever it comes about. The next one is so I have quite a few Jodi Picoult books because I've always heard that she's super super good from almost everyone I've heard of. This one's called Salem Falls, and so I'm really excited about all of her books that I get to read, and I hope it's as good as people say it is. The next one is a nonfiction book. It's Mere Christianity, and I've seen this book recommended so much, and as a Christian myself, I want to see what it's talking about. And I have more nonfiction books, but I think this is the only nonfiction book that I have in the pile that is not a memoir or something, because I do have a memoir in here, which is the Britney Spears memoir, The Woman in Me. Now this is one that I've been meaning to read for so long. Because I love Britney Spears even to this day, even though she's a little crazy. But I'm not going to bring them out, but I also have the Twilight series over there, which I've read before, but I want to read again. Then we have another Jodi Picoult book. It's My Sister's Keeper. Now, I think this is the one of hers that I'm most excited to read, just because I've seen the clips of the movie, and they were, so interesting. What they were talking about seems, so interesting. The next book but the next book we have is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I have, I think, 3 Colleen Hoover books. And I know she's kind of a love-hate artist. Not artist, but author. But as of now, she's cool by me. Then we have The Book Thief, which is about the Holocaust. It's definitely a strong, I've seen the movie and it was definitely heartbreaking, but I've never read the book and I think I'm going to regret it, but oh well. The next book we have is another Jodi Picoult book called The Pact, which is, like I said, another one I am excited to read, just by judging, just reading the back of it. It's oh my god. This next one is called The Thursday Murder Club, and this has been and I know this is part of a series. I only have the first book right now, but I definitely plan on trying to find the other ones. But I've seen a lot about it on Instagram and TikTok, stuff like that, so I'm really excited. The next book is a Ruth Ware book. This is one I haven't read yet. I've read 2 of her books, which we'll get to later. But I'm so excited to read this one because both of the books that I've read so far were like so good. They both were given 4 stars. But yeah, I'm so excited for that one. This next book is called The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I heard she's good. Now I think they said this was her debut novel. So but they did say it was like so super good from who I'm talked about. And then I have another book of hers called The Guest List, which they say she got better with as she went along with writing different books. This one is called The House Across the Lake. Now I've heard some mixed reviews about this one. So I'm not really sure. I got it at Ollie's for like $3. As I continue to die, we're gonna save that one for last. The next one is called Elsewhere, which I briefly talked about in my last video. So we're gonna briefly talk about it again. I fell in love with this book the first time I read it, and I've been meaning to read it again. So I think I'm gonna make an exception for this one and add it to my book list. That's in there. Basically I have a bunch of titles made up because I don't want to Alright, the next one is called, and the end of this first pile is another Jodi Picoult book, and the first of the couple of hardcovers I have. It's called A Spark of Light. Don't really know what it's about. I just read it, and we're not going to talk about it right now, but oh my god. I didn't read the book, obviously, just the inside cover. And I also have, we're not going to talk about each individual book, but I do have the all three of the original Hunger Games trilogy, which I don't know why it took me so long to read the Hunger Games, what it did. Alright, the next one is probably the Coho book, the Colleen Hoover book that I have that I'm most excited to read. It's called Reminders of Him. Just because of reading the back of the book, it felt so calling to me. And then there's this Jodi Picoult book called The 10th Circle. Same thing. What's it about? I feel like Jodi Picoult writes about some of the most sensitive topics, but also the best way possible, people have said. The next one is called The Secret Life of Bees, which I've read before because my English teacher was like, you need to read this book, and I read it and I loved it so much. I think I probably want to I definitely want to read it again. And hold on a second. This is a hand-me-down. This is a used book, and some people had dog-eared the pages, which drives the shit out of me, which I've done in the past. But she was like, you need to read this book, it's so good. And I'm like, okay, I'll read this book, it's gonna be good. Alright, we're just gonna go through the rest of these Jodi Picoult books real quick. We have Keeping Faith, which yeah, so another strong one. Then we have Picture Perfect. Yeah. Then we have Leaving Time. And then finally we have Plain Truth, and then we have the rest of our hardcovers. We have House Rules, and we have 19 Minutes, all of which I'm so excited to read. I think she's the artist that I'm most excited to read that I haven't read yet. Next book we have is called A Child Called It. I have this book and its sequel. And trigger warning, this is about child abuse. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to take it. But we're going to read it eventually when it comes out. Comes up in my little... and I'll show you what I'm talking about before I close off the video. The next book we have is another Ruth Ware book that I haven't read yet, so I'm so excited to read. It's called One by One. So ready for that. Then we have It Ends With Us, Colleen Hoover book. And in case you wanted to know where I stand, if you want to stay, Team Blake, fuck Justin. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Team Blake, fuck Justin. Where the Crawdads Sing, my old boss, who I actually don't speak to anymore, because he's a little bitch, actually got me a copy of this book. Now, this is not the same copy. This is a different copy. But it was so good. So, fuck you, but also thank you. The next book I have is called The Silent Patient. Now, I've heard so many mixed reviews about it. I've heard it was terrible. But I've also heard people say it's really good. And I've also heard people say that ACOTAR is terrible. And that's probably one of my favorite series I've ever read, so I'll be the judge to that. Now, another popular book that I've heard is really, really good is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. These two books, that and The Silent Patient, and this next one, The Nightingale, have been on my TBR for so long. I've heard people just gush over this book. Pretty much 99% of people who have read this book that I've come across have loved it. And it's another World War II story. And I heard it really sits with you, so I'm so excited to read that one too. And then we have another Kristen Hanna book. It's called Homefront, which I'm also really excited to read because I've heard that all of her books are really good. I do wish this one was in better condition, but it's so rare for my local bookstore, used bookstore, to get Kristen Hanna books that I had to grab it anyway. Next we have a couple of Mitch Albom books. The Timekeeper, which is a work of fiction, and Tuesdays with Morrie, that I that I haven't read yet, but that one's a work of nonfiction. Alright, I've read this book before, but not in lately. I've only read it once. It's called The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, and this is one of the ones that I was talking about over there that was so close to being a 6-star read, but it didn't quite make the cut. Alright, then we have these 2 Ruth Ware books that I've read. I finished reading this one today. It's The Woman in Cabin 10. And it was so good. I mean, it was good, but I don't think I liked it as much as her debut novel, In a Dark, Dark Wood. I still think about this book. It's not good enough to be a 6-star or even a 5-star. I gave it a 4-star. But like I think I like this one better than the Cabin 10. And finally, the last book we are going to be talking about is and the only other book besides The Glass Castle to ever get a 6-star rating from me. It's Finding Chica by Mitch Albom. And let me tell you, I read this book in 2 sittings, and the only reason I didn't read it in 1 sitting is because when I was almost done, because I started it at midnight, approximately right at midnight on January 1st, so starting off the new year. I got tired, you know, part of the way through, so I didn't really wasn't really, able to like like 100, 100 and, like 10% like concentrate like I wanted to. So like I just basically wanted to just be like, okay, we'll like come back to it or something. I'm trying to like pick up a little bit right now and just like talk to you for a second before we close, before we like close off the video. I have like so many books on my TBR. It's like insane. And I go to the like store like once a week or so. So I'm never gonna like, I feel like I'm never gonna like actually like run out of like books to read, just because I feel like I have so much that I need to read now, and like I'm always getting like like new books and everything. So before I go though, hold on just a second. But before I go, I just wanted to like mention what I was talking about. Basically, I have this little like thing where I pick out what I have the books on my TBR, and instead of having to like choose it, I would pick one. I would like I would like dig. I would like like dig around in it and like pick one out. For example, and I'm gonna have to put this one back. But for example, I dig around in it and like I pick one up, and it would be like and I would open it up, and it would be like, and it would say, for example, this one says The Island, which is not a book that we talked about. It's an Ellen Hilderbrand book, so that would be the next read. But that's not our next read though, because we're actually reading something else right now. But yeah, thank you so much for coming to my birthday celebration spectacular. I will see you in my next videos coming very, very soon. Goodbye.